we're going to have a quick look at the what I call well, I'm calling at the moment spine pushing. If you looked at the last video, you'll see I think I called it spine pushing. Um, and it's the ability to actually allow your spine to lengthen from the bottom upwards. So we talked about avocados and daffodils or whatever growing. And so the bulb's in the ground. Here's the bulb here. Here's the roots going into the ground. And you can even consider your arms to be part of the roots as well if you wish. But what we're concerned about is the spine. So when you stand upright, your spine has a natural curvature in here, in the hollow in the small of the back. Yeah, it has a natural curvature. So that's you facing that way. Yeah, so you're looking that way. Here's your pelvis. Here's your bum here. Okay, and naturally you will go in at the spine. I'm going to really overdo this. You're going to go in at the spine like this. That's your natural standing posture. A little over the top, maybe, but for some people it isn't actually. Funnily enough. And as you can see, all these spinous processes here are sticking out. They're quite close together. And you'll also see that, hopefully you'll be able to see that if I get close enough to the camera, each spinous process, let me open the back up a little bit. So I've just opened this one up here. So you can see it's got two little bits sticking down either side, there and there. Now those two bits slot in between these two bits here. So when you, I've got to look to do this, I can't do it in the screen. So it's your natural curvature is like that. That means that this bottom one here has, when it moves and tries to turn, it's going to turn the top one because it's like a lever system. So what we want to do is we want to make that slightly more flexible. So our natural sitting posture, standing posture, not sitting, sorry, that's wrong. It's standing definitely, sitting not. So when you're like the spine naturally has those interconnections going on. Now, what we want to do is we want to release the lower spine. So in effect, this happens and it kind of straightens out a little bit. This is a little over straight, but that's what we're after. And what we really don't want to do is to do this where you push it too much beyond. So we're going to just look at what you do. And when we do a pelvic tilt, when you do pelvic tilt, you actually straighten your spine out, like the not too far version that I just demoed. So when you sit down, so we're going to do a pelvic tilt. So you're pivoting from here, basically from these bones here. Your legs come up and they go in here. That's our pivotal point. Yeah, that's where we're pivoting from. Grabbing the spine again. We had this last time. There's the pivotal point on both sides. You've got two hollows. You can see them there. And that's where you're pivoting from. So your pelvis rocks on those two pivots. And if you put your hands here, let's do the usual thing. Put them on the waist here. So here's your waist round here. Just sink the heel of your hand into the waist, touch your fingers downwards, just go slightly backwards. And now move your knees. And you'll find that you may need to move your fingers a little bit, but you'll find that it's slightly backwards, actually, just a tiny, tiny bit. When you do this, something is moving under your fingers, right? So this is too low. So you actually it's slightly upwards. So your pivotal point, in effect, is going to be slightly in here. It's precisely what we did last time. And when you do a pelvic tilt, so we could imagine you've got a skewer going through, roughly speaking, here. Yeah. If you find those wobbly points and go fractionally upwards and go inwards, that's your skewer point, your kebab point. So now when you sit down, you literally rotate the front of the pelvis upwards and the back of the pelvis down and under. So the front of the pelvis is here, the symphysis pubis, this is the pubic bone, comes across. It's loose at the front, it's soft in the front, it has tissue in the front here, but it's fairly firm. And when you do this, this is going to lift up, and this back bit obviously is going to tip down because it's a pivotal thing. So when we sit down, and here's your pivotal point again, the pubic bone lifts up and your bottom tucks under. and you feel like this is now starting to straighten out. Now, we've had this 1,000 times, and it'll have it 1,000 more times, because there's always something extra to get out of this. Now, we can really overdo this an awful lot, and you can do it. So you're going to rotate your pubic bone up, really push it up so it reaches your nose. Feel that as if it's going to. Okay, so you've had to really work hard to do this. You've forced it. You've made it. You've really implied, pulled a lot. This has gone quite tense around here in order to pull it up. It's fine for the moment. Okay, release it. We're going to do exactly the same again. Find your pivotal point here. This goes right through, and rotate off your skewer and sit down and really work it hard. Okay, this is much more than we need. We're creating a lot of tension in the body, and our aim actually is to make our spines lengthen. So if you think about the spine when it's in its dormant state, when you're standing up, okay, it's got the S-bend in the back. So at the moment, when we do the pelvic tilt to start it off, we start to undo this S-bend and we push it up so it straightens, okay? It straightens up. Now, as soon as you do that, you're going to start getting taller, just a fraction. And we're not going to bend the knees this time because we don't need to. So you're naturally standing up here. You've got a slight S-bend in your back, okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to do a pelvic tilt without your knees bending. Let's say as much as you can for the moment, okay? So we're still rotating off this point, but there's going to be no knee bending. So you do a pelvic tilt and go for it as much as you can. Okay, so this is way over the top, but it's fine. Just go over the top as much as you possibly can. You'll feel now that this perhaps has opened out at the back. It's something shifted in the small of your back. And we've got too much tension at the front. So now let's just release it a little bit. So you lift the pubic bone at the front just enough to straighten your spine out, and then release it. Get a very slight tilting and then back. Let's let it go. So very slight pelvic tilt, lift the pubic bone up a tiny bit. And your aim here is to feel this lift slightly and feel simultaneously, you need the two things to go together, the back opening. Okay, so some people can't feel it opening, but what you can feel very often is it actually getting longer. So when you lift the pubic bone up here, now feel like your bone at the back of the spine is actually lengthening from down here. Because what's happening, of course, is as you tilt the pelvis, the incurve, whatever you call it, I've just lost it for a second, the incurve, it will straighten out. Now, the straightening out action is it getting longer. So if you go too far, you start going from the curve to the straight and then back to a different curve. And we want to find the middle position in a way. So it's just a case of relax that area. So you're in neutral, you've got the natural curvature of the spine, and then you just feel like from the lower back is lengthening. And you've probably done it enough, even when you've done a very small amount of pubic bone lift. So you go to neutral again, and then you do that, lift the pubic bone, and just watch what's happening with your back. Observe your back, do not try to do anything with it. If you can get the idea, if you can observe how it actually lengthens, then you don't have to be involved. So that's what we're really after. You want to observe and not actually try and control. By all means, lift this. You can control that if you want for the moment. Okay, so you're back to neutral again. And you do your slight lift at the front and just observe the back. Okay, now bear in mind that a plant grows from the bottom upwards, from its bulb, whatever, okay, from its seed, however. So we now need to have the feeling of this plant being grown from the bottom upwards, being grown, okay? And so you just do a few of them. And all you're trying to do is not take any part in the back. You're trying to let it do its stuff, but watch how it does it and what it does. And it's such a small movement. Do not overdo it. Really don't. Now, you keep doing it, and as you do it, the the curve undoes just a tiny, tiny bit. But if you follow the curve as it undoes, you'll find it actually carries on right up high to the tip of the plant, which is the top of your spine. So you'll find in a bit, or maybe already, that it's like everything is undoing right from the bottom. As soon as you begin this very gentle pelvic tilt, so the speed it does it is really quite fast. So if I pick 3 points, one's going to be up here at the top, one is going to be up at my shoulder blades, and the first one is going to be the spine, the curvature. Okay. So it goes this fast. So when I go lift the pubic bone and I go, okay, curvature, shoulder blades, it's in the head. It's reached it. It's incredibly fast because obviously as soon as one thing moves, it moves the next one, the next one, the next one, and on and on up the spine. So again, it's another one of these things where we're trying to release and let go and just be an observer. Allow the spine to do its stuff. Don't try and involve yourself in it. There's a whole sort of Zen thing here about, where a tree is busy treeing. We call it a tree, it's a word, and we've got a picture of what a tree is, but actually the tree itself is just treeing, it's doing what it does. And that's what we kind of want to do as well here. We don't want to have an idea of what we should be doing. We want to just observe, become a complete observer and watch your spine just undoing. It comes down to this undoing word again. It's definitely not a doing. So we've got the very gentle lift at the front that triggers the back to undo and release.